Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Carson. I'm with Sunshine Bees in Alberta. It's March 31st. It was 25 below last night. It's 15 below and snowing today. I don't know why we live in this country, but we do. Anyhow, my purpose today is to show you a screen bottom board with a solid bottom below it. There's a lot of debate on whether you should be using screen bottoms or solid bottoms, and so what I'm trying to do here today is show you the combination that we've come up with. Now, the measurements are determined by the size of your box. I make mine all out of cedar, so mine, the wood is 1 inch thick. If they're pine, I believe it's 5/8. If they're styrofoam, it's 1.5 inches or more. So the measurements will have to be added to or deleted by, determined by the outside dimension of your box. So what we've got here is our sides. What we've done, this entire project is built out of 2x4s. They're cheap, they're strong, they last a long time. So what's happening is these sides are exactly the length of whatever your box is, and they would be like that. So I'm just placing them here just to show you. And the inside is determined by the width of your box. So now what we'll do is we will just basically assemble one. We're not going to put it together. We're not going to spend time screwing and gluing the thing together, but that's there. So that is the first stage. Envision that thing all glued and screwed together. Now what we do, and you'll see the purpose of this a little later, we put a 2-inch styrofoam in the bottom of these boxes. That styrofoam stays in year round. We never have a problem with cold or hot temperatures here, so it's not an issue. And what I've put this groove in for is for hot climates where you don't want a styrofoam bottom. So the dimensions on that, basically, the strip on the top is 1 inch. The groove in that the sticky board slides in is about 3/8. No great deal on that. And the depth here is I've gone about 3/4 of an inch in. So what we've got, when we put this together, we end up with something like this. Okay. The main thing is this 2 inches here is because that's the thickness of my styrofoam. So then what we do, we take this, tip it upside down, and we basically put our 2 legs under it like that. Glue and screw them down. So then you end up with something that looks like this. Okay, so now once we have that done, now we want to put our screen on. So we would take this, put this like this. We draw out our screen, we lay it on top, we run it wild past the front like this, 2 inches, something like that. I line it up on one side so it's clear, or so it's inside the wood a little bit. I take my end board, which is just a piece of 3/4 inch, cut off a 2x4, and I nail that down. I do not glue it down because in the future, if I ever want to replace my screen for some reason, I just want to be able to pull out the staples and that's it. So then I end up putting these on. Again, this here width here is the width of your finished box. This length here ends up so it comes right to the end of the box. I put this on here, staple these all down with good staples. I run in some small staples into here just to hold it, and then I bend this down and around. Then I take my front, and I've cut an angle on this, but you don't have to. And so what happens is this gets bent down around like this. You attach this here with some screws into the front. Again, don't glue it. And that one is complete. So when it's done, it looks like that. Now, if what we do is we cut a piece of styrofoam, and this styrofoam, like I say, up here, I leave it in year-round. And the only reason I want to take it out is sometimes I might want to take it out to clean it. So I slide my styrofoam in, and you see it comes up to the bottom of my grooves, right here. Then I make up a sticky board like this, just with this plastic cardboard, and and then I attach a handle on it like this, and it goes in place so that it is completely sealed. You don't want any bees to be able to get on the oil, and that's what you put on there. I use just canola oil. Any kind of cheap oil is fine. I believe that if you have a sticky board and you don't have some kind of oil underneath it, all that happens is that if the mites get knocked off as a result of getting knocked off by the bees, or if you use icing sugar sprinkle or anything like that, and if they fall down on a solid board, all you're doing is sending on a bit of a holiday, because they just turn around and go right back up with the bees. Now, what I do with this is about every 10 days I come along and I pull out this sticky board and I check for mites. And I look for it, and I hope to find none. But if I find 1 or 2 per day of the length of time that the sticky board's in, that's not bad. Any more than that, I better start thinking about treating these guys, because we're starting to get a little bit too high. So if you don't, like I say, if you're in a hot climate, you don't put in the styrofoam. Now, if you don't have the capability of the machinery to put that groove in, what you can do is you can just put a small strip of plywood on there, and then just run your sticky board in on top of that. Now, I think that pretty well covers it. We have put together 50 of them here. I've been running these for 2 winters now. Right now I have a 6% loss. We've still got some time to go, but I think we're in pretty good shape. What I do, because I use styrofoam on the outside of my boxes, I pull this out in the wintertime and I run my styrofoam all the way down and up the hives. So, if we got that, and we take our box, and we put it on top, it's lined up like that, and we have room for our entrance reducers, that sort of thing, and that's pretty well it. Now, one little sidebar I want to throw at you. I've been experimenting with something in these frames. What I've done is I've taken one of those triangle bits, and I drilled holes in the corners like they used to do with the wooden frames, where they break off the plastic frame. It was basically a bit of an experiment, and my thought was, if the bees don't like it, they will fill the holes. Well, they didn't. I tried about 100 frames. Not one of them had a hole in them. So anyhow, that's just sort of a little tidbit for you. And if you can use this or some part of it, you're more than welcome to it. Thank you very much.